Hi everyone, Josh Knight the First here again with another Eggzade replay coming to you with episode 5 of Kamen Rider Eggzade. Let's get right into it. Okay, so in this episode we've got a lot of development of the story as far as getting to the next level, specifically level 3. This is going to be the introduction of Kamen Rider Eggzade getting his level 3 Gashat, which allows for him to use the Gekitotsu robot power along with his original Mighty Action X Gashat, and that will give him the power that he needs to compete against this new threat. Now when I say new threat, really it's a threat that we've been dealing with since actually back in Kamen Rider Ghost's last episode. Part of the fun here is that we're going to see this episode, and they touted it since last week, that we're going to discover the identity of Kamen Rider Genmu. Well, here it's a little bit off from what we thought it was, and for some people it was exactly what we thought it was. So if you don't want to know, I'm going to say who it was, so if you don't want spoilers, you might want to click out for a little bit. So for starters, let's get right into the problem of the episode. At the beginning of the episode, Kuroto-dan, the president of the Genmu Corporation, alerts the CR that the 4 new Gashats that he's created have been stolen. At the very same time, across the city, Amu runs into a person on the side of the road who seems to be in need of help and also has game sickness. As it turns out, these two people are one and the same. The very basic problem that's presented is the fact that Hiro wants to go ahead and retrieve the Gashats, because of course everybody wants more power to defeat the Bugsters, but at the same time Emu doesn't want to deny him treatment since he's a patient and he cares about every patient he comes into contact with. This leads into a fight with a new Bugster that seems to have gotten a hold of the Gekitotsu robot Gashat and is using that as a power-up. Long story short, eventually this all comes down to a large fight between just about everybody in the show. We have Brave, Snipe, and this new Bugster all fighting, whereas Kamen Rider Laser is fighting Kamen Rider Genmu, taunting him, saying, "I know who you actually are." Earlier in the episode, he told everybody else at the CR, "Oh, the thief is the identity of Kamen Rider Genmu," but it seems that he might have been not quite telling the truth about that. In actuality, he was straight up lying. After transforming into his level 3 form, Genmu easily wipes the floor with everybody, nearly killing them. And of course, it's up to Emu to go ahead and battle him. Emu's plan is simple. He decides to bypass Genmu almost completely to go after the Gekitotsu robot Gashat, which he does retrieve and uses it to become his level 3 form. Now that he's been given the power of this Gashat, Emu now has the power to have a rocket punch, which is very cool and very Japanese as far as a weapon is concerned. And he very easily defeats Genmu now that he has this power. It seems though that Genmu decided to take the hit because he very easily saw that he was about to be hit with a final attack, but took it. As to the reason why he did this, it makes sense once you realize who he actually is. In the subsequent scene, we see that Genmu's real identity is Kuroto-dan, the president of the Genmu Corporation. Apparently this whole time he's been working in league with the Bugsters for whatever plan they're devising. So this leads to a whole new revelation about where the story's going to go. Basically, well, first off I should say, I kind of guessed it was going to be him, but I didn't want to confirm anything until I saw this episode. Point being, now that we know that Kuroto-dan is actually in league with them, we have to figure out what do they want. Clearly the Bugsters want to take over humanity, wipe them out, whatever they want to do. They're the bad guys, that makes sense. But for Kuroto-dan, it seems that he has something a little different in mind. It seems that it's his technology that gave birth to them in the first place, so he might be coming at this from a different aspect. Now, I'll say this much. As far as being the leader of an organization that may or may not be evil goes, Kuroto is hitting all the right notes. He's a believable bad guy. If there's one nitpick I have with him, and this is from my own experience of having played an evil organization leader, he's wearing brown shoes, black pants, and a blue jacket. That just doesn't make sense. If you're the leader of an evil organization, have some fashion sense, or go all out and have a giant helmet. It's one or the other. You can't really be in the middle there. And especially if you have the money of a game corporation leader, you can afford to coordinate. I'm just saying. Another interesting thing that I saw in this episode is that last episode I was applauding the series that Popey People Papa wasn't really as big or prevalent in that episode. Here we get her right off the bat. She's loud, she's annoying, but really all of her lines could have been said by Asuna. Now admittedly she's just there in the beginning, but she's there loud and proud. So, I mean, I guess that means they're making up for it. Maybe they feel that there's a certain balance they need between Asuna and Popey People Papo. I don't know why, but it seems that they were making up for last week. Now, as far as that thief goes, the thief actually turned out to be Graphite, the Bugster that we see at the beginning of every other episode plodding along to see, oh, I'm going to spread the virus. He apparently is the one who has history with Taiga. He was the one that Taiga was dealing with back during the Zero Day incident, and is probably the reason why he decided to not take part in the Kamen Rider project. And again, I'm very happy to say most of the things that I've been saying for the last couple of episodes hold up here. The action, consistent. The storytelling, quick-paced. It doesn't lag at all. I don't think there was a second where I felt like, this is boring, let me check my phone. No, I was watching consistently throughout the whole thing because everything that was there was moving the story forward. Even any time that Emu seemed to trip and fall over something, they get over it. It's not like something like, say, Kamen Rider Den-O a few years ago, where Ryotaro, the crux of his character was that he was always hurting himself, and they would linger on it for a little too long. It made sense for that series, but over here, it's just a character tick that they address. Okay, he fell over, let's keep going with the story. I very much appreciate that they're not letting that swallow up his character. And also in concern with Emu's character, we have a conversation between him and Kuroto Dan midway through the episode talking about what it means to be a doctor, at least as far as Emu is concerned. Emu's basic philosophy is that if he sees somebody in front of him, he can't help but help them. He's a doctor, he's sworn an oath. In opposition to that, Kuroto Dan tells him that that might be all well and good, but eventually somebody's going to take advantage of that. Of course, this is very telling because when you think about it, that's exactly what he's doing. Kuroto Dan is trying to get all of this information out of Emu, most likely to help the Bugsters and not actually help him as a Kamen Rider, even though he made the technology that allows him to become one. And really, I don't have to explain that much more. This episode was very straightforward. I appreciate that. I appreciate the storytelling. I'm looking forward to next week when we're going to see Kamen Rider Brave get his power-up, the rhythm game-based Do-Re-Mi-Fa beat level 3 form. But those were my thoughts. I want to hear what you guys think. Did you guys like the fights this week? Do you want more Poppy People Popo? Did you guess who Genmu was? You can let me know in the comments below, or you can talk to me over on social media. On Twitter, I'm at JoshKnight1st. This has been another Kamen Rider Ex-Aid replay for episode 5. Everybody gathers a clashing crash. This is Josh Knight the First. I will see you guys again next week.